Can you explain witchcraft being used today and what that looks like as opposed to the gimmicky form of witchcraft? In the same way there's the gimmicky exorcist, and then there's the real life exorcist.
Real witchcraft is actually manipulation of demons. There's individuals in our government that are really involved into witchcraft, and you wouldn't even guess. You wouldn't even look at them and be like, oh yeah, that person's in witchcraft. You would have no clue. These are the people that are really involved in the occult. Les Wexner, the dude that gave Jeffrey Epstein his first house and some other billions, that dude was in an interview and they asked him, how do you make your money? And he says, I listen to my golem. Golem is demon. It's a Jewish term. Real witchcraft is much more in your face. It's involved in your media. It's involved in your language. It's involved in the religions around us. I mean, they do witchcraft to you every day. You know, some people are possessed to the point where the demon will speak through the person. Some people are possessed to the point where they'll have sickness in their body. There's different levels of how much the demonic can influence a person, and it's not all the same. Like, they are influencing you through the occult, and you don't even know that it's happening to you. And a lot of people think this is silly. Like what I'm saying, you're probably like hearing and be like, oh, well, that's just silly words. Like, yeah, that's because you're under a spell.
Now, we've all seen Hollywood's depiction of a demon possession, and some people who watch the show may even have known someone who's possessed or even claim to have been possessed themselves. But most of the time, we're talking about fictitious or theoretical possession, right? Like, oh, she or he was possessed by a demon. Well, there are a lot of people out there who believe genuinely that exorcisms are real because demons are real. And of course, who does the exorcisms? Well, of course, there are people that actually specialize in this, as weird as it sounds. It's not just from the Hollywood movies. Today, my guest, Bryan of DemonErasers, is both a Christian exorcist, a demonologist, a researcher, and a documentarian. It's quite the background and the bio, if you ask me. And we're going to be talking about some of these questions about the demonic, about the spiritual, what's real, what's not, why people have to be exorcists, and if this is all just a show. Is it for money? I mean, I have a lot of questions. Joining me today for the show is Bryan of the DemonErasers. Welcome to Almost Serious.
Thanks for having me on. We'll get into some weird topics that hopefully are more serious than almost serious, but hey, whatever.
Yeah, let's go into it. And joining me as well to talk about this is rifttv.com contributor, Snowflake_news, but he has a name as well. Introduce yourself. Tell us why you're here.
Michael Hennessy, Snowflake_news, Rift contributor, here to kind of see what's going on. I guess I'm like a middle point in this whole conversation. I do believe there are demons. I do believe that, but there's some scenarios that I don't follow full-hearted with. So interested to hear the conversation and just be a part of it.
Yeah, so let's talk about this. Okay, you strike me as a normal guy. I've spoken to you for a couple days now. Nothing about you seems weird. You don't seem gimmicky. You don't come across like some, spiritist. I'm sure that you would agree the same, Michael. That's just a guy coming in, being normal. Also, not even trying to put on the Christian image with like a suit with a little like white collar. You're just a guy who's sitting here. And obviously, you're known as the Exorcist guy, which is quite a title. You said a lot of people ask you to pray for them. I don't really understand what extent you mean. And I was wondering, how does someone like you get into the field of exorcism? Is this more of a hobby? Is it a calling and a passion, or is this a job?
Yeah, so I don't make money from this. This is not something that I do for money, and I would be questionable of anybody that says they're casting out demons and healing people that are charging for it. I would be very questionable of those individuals, because the Bible literally says, it says that as a Christian, we are all called to do this. So it literally says, like, a lot of times Christians are like, oh, they're afraid of people that cast out demons. They're afraid of people that do with what I deal with. They're always like, oh, don't get near me, or like, oh my gosh, like, it's terrifying. But like the Bible straight up says in Mark 16:17 that these signs will follow those who believe. It says, in my name, they will drive out demons. It literally says, like, Jesus gives a description of like what a Christian is. So, a lot of times people are like, I'm a Christian. And it's like, well, your Bible says you're supposed to cast out demons. Do you cast out demons? And like, well, I don't know about that. Like, this is what we're supposed to do. Like, so as a Christian, we're called to do this. Like, this is what Jesus has commissioned us to do. He's told us to set people free, and to it's not just like, raise your hand and get saved, and now you go to heaven when you die. Like, that's silliness. Like, we are called to bring truth, set people free, and love people. So yeah, this is kind of like, I think, 101 Christianity in a lot of ways.
Yeah, so I want to talk to you about, let's go into demons. Okay, let's get into the specificity of it. So obviously you're known, and people say that you have this deep knowledge of witchcraft, which is a biblical idea. And just today, actually, I think everybody knows, sadly, I want to point out Charlie Kirk was just assassinated within the last few days or few weeks, depending on when this airs. And an article came out about a bunch of witches that had cast spells on him. And some people think, oh, that's just kind of stupid or whatever. But of course, the Bible takes it very seriously. And if you believe in the Bible, then you have to believe that witchcraft is real. So it's kind of like a goofy New Age thing to a lot of people that the weird goth alternative girls do. Question is it real? Is witchcraft real today? And can you explain witchcraft being used today and what that looks like as opposed to the gimmicky form of witchcraft, in the same way there's the gimmicky exorcist and then there's the real life exorcist?
Yeah, well, first off, the people that are saying that they're witches that paint their fingernails black, they're not witches. Those are called ignorant fools. Okay, you think you're a witch because you paint your fingernails black and wear pentagrams. You have no clue what real witchcraft is. Real witchcraft, they don't want to tell you who real witches are. They're not gonna why would they reveal that they're involved in the occult? Why would they show you if they can manipulate you and do things to you without you knowing about it? They're not going to tell you that that's what they are. Like, the real witches are involved in our politics. Real witches are involved. There's individuals in our government that are really involved into witchcraft, and you wouldn't even guess. You wouldn't even look at them and be like, oh yeah, that person's in witchcraft. You would have no clue. These are the people that are really involved in the occult. Okay, everybody else is just like pumping out stupidity, so that way, it gives them a cover for what they're really doing. The things that they're really involved in. So yeah, there's a difference between like real witchcraft and real witchcraft is actually manipulation of demons. That's what it is. It's not just, I do little spells and these little spells happen. Like these people talking about putting spells on Charlie Kirk, that's nonsense. Like whatever. Like that's silly and patheticness. Real witchcraft is much more in your face. It's involved in your media. It's involved in your language. It's involved in, the religions around us. It's involved in things that they're doing. I mean, they do witchcraft to you every day. Like that's why it's called the media. Like media. So when you consume media, that's from the word medium. Okay, medium is a witch. You go to the medium, who is the in-between, the bigs and the little, right? Big, medium, little, okay? So the medium is the in-between, the go-between you and the gods or the spirits, okay? That's what a medium, that's what a witch is. And so today we have it called the media. And that's like influencing you through ways of witchcraft. We just don't recognize it because we're like, oh, it's our normal language. Well, the normal language that you have is called spelling for a reason. Why do you think they call it spelling? Like if you look into the etymology of the word grammar, it comes from the root word grimoire, okay? It means witchcraft, okay? That's why it's called Instagram. Like it's instant gram, instant witchcraft, instant influence is literally what it's telling you. This is what witchcraft is. It's so like much involved in us that we don't even recognize it. I mean, like you write in grammar and spelling and they teach you cursive, okay? It's called cursive for a reason, okay? Like it's a cursing language. It's a witchcraft language. Like old books of witchcraft are in English. English is witch tongue. It's an occultic language. But people don't know this because they don't study their history. They're naive to a lot of this stuff. And the Bible literally says, my people perish because they do not know. That's what it says. So like channeling is, and it's called the YouTube channel. Okay. It's called, scrying is an act of seeing visions, and it's called a screen. Like everything in our world is derived from the occult. It's derived from witchcraft. Like it's like Hollywood is the wood that witches and wizards craft their wands and staves out of. Like they are influencing you through the occult, and you don't even know that it's happening to you. And a lot of people think this is silly. Like what I'm saying, you're probably like hearing them being like, oh, well, that's just silly words. Like, yeah, that's because you're under a spell. There's a difference between being spellbound and being under a spell. Okay. So like let's say you get turned into a frog, right? You're under a spell. You're like, I need to be a human again. Like, fictitiously, right? But let's say you get turned into a frog and you don't even know that you were turned into a frog. That's called being spellbound. Okay. And that's what everybody is today because of the media from the witchcraft that's being influenced in your mind. It's like ideas that are being planted. It's hypnosis. Hypnosis is real. That is witchcraft. The occult is real. MK Ultra. This is all forms of witchcraft that is literally permeated into our society. So people are involved in this stuff, and they're deeply involved in it. It's not just like lighting candles and like doing stuff like that. There's so much more to it.
So I want to ask you something, Henny, to kind of pick apart your brain here.
Sure.
Does this sound like bullshit to you? I mean, what is genuinely somebody who's what does this sound like to you? And I want you to I want you to tell him what you think about it, and also, I genuinely want. I want you to challenge him if it does. I want to hear what you think.
I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I do believe that demons are real. I also believe that there's a lot of times that we say it's demonic when it's not. It's people choosing bad actions, people following more of a satanic way, not meaning that it's a possession. So, for instance, like Hollywood, stuff like that, or you said Instagram. I think there is plenty of times when people do kind of head down that path, more satanic, more of heading towards sacrifices. You mentioned, I do believe there is sacrifices, obviously. So I don't think all of it is being controlled by a demon. It may be people like, I believe we're given an option. As you say, spirits can talk to you, demons can talk to you. I believe people are given an option and they choose to go down the worst path, unfortunately, some of them. But I don't, to say that Mark Zuckerberg is like an evil witch or something, I don't think that. Do I think he's an evil man? Yes, I do.
It comes from a goblin class.
Yeah. I do believe that. I do believe that Mark Zuckerberg is a very bad man. I believe just like there's other bad people in the world. But I also think it's the actions which they choose. So yes, someone can be possessed, I do believe. But at the same time, I think a lot of times what we do, because this is a spiritual war that we are fighting, we see that every day. I'm not going to deny any of that as well. But sometimes what happens is we create our own actions, and then the repercussions that come from those actions, people say, well, the person must have been possessed or something else. We had mentioned that, maybe I'm possessed from somebody else.
But the etymology part of this, like, do you think that like him saying these words and that it's an occultic language and that we're kind of like all under spell? Like, do you believe that, or does it just sound like to you? Honestly, I want to hear your reaction.
To me, I personally, and I'm open to being wrong. I'm open to learning today. Sure. I don't feel like Instagram is a spell. Do I believe it's people who go more down a demonic path as far as like their beliefs? I do believe that, yes, that can lead us to that way. There's always the symbolism we see, the Google sign or all these other ones. I do believe
so
that.
What do you think they put those things into all that stuff?
I believe it's just sick people who are believing towards something evil, like they're following the path of of pretty much like more of a path of the devil, like of Lucifer heading down that way, and more of their beliefs are angled towards that. I don't think someone possessed Mark Zuckerberg and said, we need to call this Instagram.
That's not how it works.
Yeah, I don't think that's how it works.
How does it work though? Then I mean, is it?
Yeah,
it's just, he's just saying to clarify, because that's there's just weird people, evil people. They're just like strange. Basically, people do weird stuff.
Yeah.
So
I'll explain it. Yeah. So it's like, like for instance, like when I say Instagram, it's gram is the root word for witchcraft. It comes from grim as well. So if you type in etymology of grammar, it will literally tell you it comes from the word magic, mumbo jumbo, witchcraft, incantation. That's where the word grammar comes from. So it's grimoire. Okay. So when you look into this, you're like, okay, so if grammar's related to this word of the occult, okay, that's why they call it the Grammys. Okay, what do you think of that word? And it's like the Brothers Grimm. The word grim is also dark or the Grim Reaper, right?
Reaper,
okay,
yeah. So
this word gram it's an occultic term, and you'll see it mirrored in everything. Like the program, pro means for, gram means witchcraft. Program, that's why they call the television program you. Tell-lie-vision program for witchcraft. If you break that down, it's telling you what it is. I mean, it's the same thing with like Nickelodeon. They put their words in spells. Like Nickelodeon, Nick means nothing. Kello means knowledge or care. And Deo or Deon means God. Nick Kello Deon means I don't care about God. Why would they put that in there if the spell was insignificant? You think it's just sick people that are doing this kind of thing, but it's so much more than that.
Well, I think it's also just like you said, the Gothic girls. So the Gothic girls, they go ahead, they paint their nails, they put on this whole look, and they say, well, I'm a witch, when they're really not a witch.
Yeah.
I think that you have people that fall down a path, which is more of an evil type of path. And I believe that, that's where a lot of those scenarios come from. And as I said, this isn't everybody, I do believe. But at the same time, it's like you have people who just have an evil outlook on life, or maybe they believe, just more in the satanic way. So I don't think that all these people, and they could use the language, just like the goth girl can put on the nail polish, or she can put on all black to kind of fit that.
Yeah. So Les Wexner, the dude that gave Jeffrey Epstein like some of his, I think his first house and some other billions, that dude was in an interview and they asked him, how do you make your money? How do you make all the millions and the things that you do? And he says, I listen to my golem. Golem is demon. It's a Jewish term. Okay. He says that he listens to his golem. Now you might look at that and go, oh, well, he's just being silly. Okay. But I will tell you right now, from my personal experience, demons know stuff. In fact, the root word for demon means the ones that know. Okay, it's daemon. It means knowledge. Okay, it means the ones that know. Okay, so this is like literally like what demons were doing for a lot of humanity. They were giving them supernatural knowledge and understanding. And that fact, that's why you call somebody a speed demon, or somebody that's really good at something, you call them a demon. In fact, this is another word for demon is jinn. Okay, and the word we get for jinn is actually where we get the word genius. Okay, genie is a demon, is a jinn. Okay, and a genius is somebody that has supernatural knowledge and understanding being given to them. Okay, so there's people that are considered genius that have this knowledge and understanding that it's coming from something unusual. That's where the root understanding of this term comes from, genius. And so like this has been throughout history. Demons give people knowledge, understanding, abilities. And so there's people like Les Wexner who even openly admits that he's listening to demons. And like, you know, there's so many people that are listening, just like you're saying, like there's the little voices on their shoulder giving them negative ideas or positive, and we can choose. Like the reality is like you have a choice. You are a choice maker essentially in this video game that we call life. Okay. All you are is a choice maker. And it's like, you can choose whether to listen to the Holy Spirit, listen to God, or you can choose to listen to something else. That something else, we call that demon.
See, I would be more open to that personally. That it's not like a full possession, takeover, controlling them or anything. It's more like a voice in your head, kind of like when Jesus did his walk. You had the devil kind of baiting him throughout the same thing, and Jesus chose not to go down that path. So I do believe that we are faced with obstacles that can be more on the spiritual realm, demonic or whatever. But it's also the actions which we choose. Do we push away from God or do we lean towards God? But a lot of times too, I know I hear that like someone's fully possessed and they're fully taken over and they can't control themselves. I have a hard time. And there may be scenarios where that happens because the Bible does mention it. So I do believe there are scenarios where that happens. But a lot of times I think it's wicked people. You know, they were given a choice because choice is the greatest gift that God ever gave. You know, it was love, and we need to have choice in order to have love. So I think a lot of people, they may have these thoughts where they can come from a negative spiritual place. And then what they do is they choose to act on them.
Yeah.
Well, real fast, I do want to jump into this because I want to get into what you claim are some experiences you've had with demons. So I want to talk about beyond this to kind of go further down. The whole point why I wanted him to sit here was to not just have it be like you just speaking to the people. I wanted the people who have doubts that are questioning. Maybe you can voice some of those doubts at the same time.
I'm not an expert in anything.
He's an expert. He's an
kind of got put on here. So,
but first I want to give a huge shout out to one of our sponsors for today. Obviously, you guys know making content isn't free, and neither is life. And sometimes life's a bet. And sometimes we like to watch sports. We like to hang out. We like to see things, you know. And for some reason, I'm not like the biggest sports fan, but I do watch the Super Bowl. I do bet on the Super Bowl every single year. And if you don't bet, then I wouldn't start right now. But for those of you guys that do and do like watching sports and getting your game on, as well as competitions and what's going on, I'm letting you guys know that MyBookie's got an incredible deal for you. When you opt in and use the promo code RIFT, R-I-F-T, that's RIFT, you get your first bet back if it loses up to $500. So you heard that right. Lose your bet, and MyBookie's got your back with a refund of up to $500. It's the perfect way to jump into action without the worry. Just head to bit.ly/joinwithrift or go to mybookie.com, promo code RIFT, R-I-F-T. Again, it's bit.ly/joinwithrift. Or enter promo code RIFT at mybookie.com. Don't miss out. Sign up today at mybookie.com, promo code RIFT, and bet smarter with MyBookie. Terms apply. So check the site for details. Let's get in the game. I did, by the way, win a lot of money on a Super Bowl back in the 2021 with MyBookie. And it was pretty cool because I actually used their free bet, and I actually won. It was like $2,500 or something like that. And I was like, not a bad deal. So check it out today. Remember, if you have a problem with betting or you think it goes against your conscience, please do not play or apply. But for those of you guys that do like to are a betting man like I am, please enjoy at your own discretion, and always make sure if you have a problem with betting or there's any issues to contact a professional or to stop today and get some help. That being said, I do want to talk about something kind of crazy here. So I believe in demons. I believe I've experienced the physical manifestation of demons. I believe that I've been at one point. Well, I woke up to God because of my experience with the demonic and the occult. And I know a lot of people don't think that that's real. And I've told my stories to people and they think I'm like, was on drugs or hallucinating or something. And maybe I was. Maybe they're right. Or maybe they're wrong. It is an interesting question, but you've apparently had experiences with demons. And knowing that some people, you know, are weird and do blame everything on the demonic. Stub your toe, it's the devil. And then there's some people who refuse to acknowledge that some things are supernatural, and that maybe not everything can be understood through scientific assays. So your experiences with demon, can you share some of those? And also in conjunction with exorcisms, what have been your experiences with demons and casting demons out of people? I'd like to know, and then I'll kind of go down and just kind of like, if you could mention this story down into what's the most frightening demon you encountered.
Yeah, sure. So, well, first thing I wanted to mention is like, another thing to go by understanding this is something like alcohol. So alcohol is Arabic, or it's not a English word. Okay. So you mentioned like demon possession isn't kind of like taking over your whole body. And I want to mention this first because it's a better understanding of this before I get into that, is that like demon possession is a bad word. I would say it's demonization is actually a much better word, because they don't possess your whole body. In fact, it's very rare when a demon possesses a person's whole body.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, it's very rare that even happens. That one of the only forms that I see full demon like taking over a person's body is when they drink alcohol. Okay, alcohol means body eating spirit. That's why it says spirits on the menu and stuff. It's a drink of rot. It comes from rotted juice. It's a realm from the realm of the dead. Okay. Same thing like mushrooms. You take mushrooms, you're going to go into the spiritual realm. Okay. And so like these demonic spirits can get a hold of you when you consume things from the realm of death and decay. They can influence you and they can get more control of your body. So like when it comes to how the demonic realm works, there's a spiritual realm around us that we can't see or hear. But when you work with this stuff and you pray for people and you recognize things, you can feel the spirits on people. Like I can tell that there's a spirit of alcohol on you, and I can feel it on you. And like, I don't need to know that that's there. I can tell that you drink one drink and you'll become a different person. Like I can tell these things just because I know the spirit. I recognize it. So like when you see this stuff, I've never done anything with that, like with you, but like I know that that's there because I can feel it in the spirit. And so like when you start to work in the spirit, you start to understand how these things work, which by the way, when demons leave people, you'll notice they'll burp or cough a lot. So by the way, if you're getting burps
He's
or coughs,
coughing right now. He's like,
I just coughed to the side.
I'm just letting you know.
They're getting him out of me.
I'm just letting you know.
That's it.
I do this quite often, and
Hallelujah,
demons
guys.
will leave you, and
and they
you'll
smile when they get asked questions.
Oh, damn.
Well, this is the funny part. So you've heard the term "bless you" before, right? So "bless you" is because they believed that when somebody sneezed, a demon was leaving them. Okay, ironically, I've never seen somebody sneeze a demon out, but I have seen them oftentimes when I talk to them. They'll just start burping, yawning, coughing, or choking, or they'll throw up.
I cough all the time. I get yelled at for it on the show.
Yeah, I was like, people do cough a lot on the show.
I always get yelled at by.
Well, hey, this is just kind of like little telltale signs.
Rated on Suicide Watch. Sorry, one of our hosts always coughing in the middle of the show.
Well, the thing is, like, the demons don't possess you fully. They possess a part of you. They possess a part of your mind, a part of your psyche, a part of your behavior, a part of your body. They'll give you cancer. They'll give you sickness and disease. And when I pray for people, these kind of things leave. A lot of people believe in like healing over at church. It's like, oh, they prayed for him and they got healed, brother. Like that's nonsense half the time. Okay, it's silly ridiculousness. Bro, I pray for people and I have seen people get healed, but it ain't like the stupid little church stuff, bro. I pray for people, they throw up, demons leave them, their whole personality changes and they get healed. The healing is a side effect of somebody getting demons out. Okay, like it's not like the man, like I'm not over there like, pray, Lord, heal them, Lord, heal them. No, I speak to the demons. I command them in the name of Jesus. You're leaving this person now. Get out. And I speak in an authority in the spiritual realm. That's not like some little, like heal them if you ask, Lord. Like you can feel just my words right now talking, the authority that comes with the spiritual realm. This is how you cast out demons. This is how you heal people. It's not if it's in your will, Lord, pray that they heal them.
Touch the forehead, they start shaking like, come back.
No, that's a lot of times that's demons going into people.
Yeah.
Half the time, okay?
To be completely honest, I would probably have to agree with that because I used to be a part of a Pentecostal movement and like, I'd be like, well, that doesn't, I know I've seen people like, I've had people like lay hands on me, like felt crazy from it. And
Yes.
I'm like, what was that?
That's a demon going into you. That's because they don't understand the authority.
Those on me now.
Yeah, bro. That's how it is because they don't understand the authority of Christ. They don't understand what it means to walk in righteousness or to walk in love or unity. Like a lot of these people are just like living their life and they think they've got special powers or some nonsense, bro. Like dude, when you learn to hear in the spirit and walk in the spirit, things are very different. Like the world is very different. And you have to walk in a certain level of righteousness to walk in this kind of anointing. Like, bro, when I've spoken to people, demons have called me out. You want to talk about like demons in a weird situation, bro? In the beginning, when I didn't know how real this was, I thought this was, somewhat psychological. I was like, is this in their head? Is it actually a thing? Bro, I had a demon possessed person call me out on my life, a perversion in my life, in very beginning. Like very beginning. I cast a demon. I have a whole testimony of like how I got started, and it's online. Look it up, whatever. But like, right in the beginning, I didn't know what I was doing. And I ended up casting a demon out of somebody after my girlfriend. I was polyamorous. I had multiple girlfriends. One of my girlfriends got demons because I was participating in sexual ritual, sex magic, essentially. And I didn't recognize that. And that was what was happening. She got demonically possessed, and she thought she was bipolar. She thought she had like, body spasm. She thought she had all this kind of sickness.
All these people that are like weird and like sexually dysfunctional all have like BPD and anxiety disorder, and like there was like permanently disabled. You know what I'm talking about? You're like, hey, why don't you just why don't be a normal person? Just hang out.
It's because of demons. And like literally all the demons, when they talk to people a lot of times, you know what they say? They call themselves they them in the Bible. Yeah. What do you think those they thems are today?
We are legion, right? It's like, the multiple.
That's how they speak, because they possess in hordes and groups. Some people are possessed to the point where the demon will speak through the person. Some people are possessed to the point where they'll have sickness in their body. And some people are possessed to the point where it's just like an emotional thought in their head. Mm-hmm. Okay, there's different levels of how much the demonic can influence a person, and it's not all the same. But like, in the beginning, like I didn't know like to what extent I was doing. A man showed up and ended up like, I prayed and I was like, Lord, help. Because I don't know what to do with this. Like my girlfriend, I care about her. I love her so much. But at the time, my ex-girlfriend or whatever. And like, I was just like, I wanted help. And this random dude showed up at my door, like no joke, at my office. And I'm working and I'm literally sitting at my desk. And this dude comes over and he's like, hi. And I'm like, hey, what's you here for design work? Nope. You here for marketing? Nope. You have a business? Nope. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. I just kept working, and the dude was like standing. I finished with the client. I turned around. Okay, listen, old man. Like, I don't know you. Like, why are you in my building? Like, I'm about to kick you out. And I'm like, what do you do? And he goes, I teach people. He goes, I heal people, and I teach people how to cast out demons. And he goes, and I'm pretty sure God told me to come here today. Dude prayed for my girlfriend, instantly healed. I've never seen anything like that, bro. She had motion sickness when we would drive. Gone. I've never seen anything. I've been in church, mind you, and I studied demonology, and I thought it was like fairy tale magic. Okay, I studied it because I thought it was like silly, bro. What I have witnessed, I'm not like one of those Christians that are like, I came to Jesus because my life was falling apart. There's so many Christians that are like, I was in drugs, and I've never done a drug in my life. I've never drinking a drop of alcohol. Like I didn't come to Jesus.
Can I ask you that though about your testimony? Because the Nazirite vow, right? That there's a certain level of anointing in the Bible, or certain types of anointings or callings that are related to a lack of perversion. And I do believe that like when you cross certain sinful boundaries, you can be saved and redeemed, but you also do create hardships for yourself in terms of temptations, and you also may cancel yourself out from certain anointings, just like David had too much blood on his hands, so he wasn't allowed to build the temple.
You're absolutely
but he was
right.
Still, after God's own heart, he still was saved in the end due to his faith and his belief, not his own righteousness, but the blood still prevented him from the physical blessing of being able to build the temple. I'm just asking, do you think that you not having partaken in drugs and alcohol is what allows you to walk in that kind of authority versus someone like myself who's, or most people I know who do some drugs or drink or whatever in their life, that would prevent them from living in that anointing? Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you think about that?
There is a certain anointing that follows you. And like, I think the Lord, if you ask him and beg him and show that you don't want this anymore and you repent and turn away, he might bestow a different anointing on you or that higher calling on you, but you got to really walk away from it. But yeah, being somebody that's never touched it, maybe that has put something in my life that's made it more apparent to me. I don't know. Like, I'm not here to say it, like God's ways are God's ways, not mine. Like, I don't know. Like, and like, I can say maybe, but like, the reality is it's there and I've experienced it and I do walk in that authority now. But it's not something like the Christians that had a fall apart life, dude. I had it made. I had multiple girlfriends. What guy is going to walk away from multiple girlfriends? Do you know how many guys that are like, dude, I had like 2 girlfriends for like 7 years, bro.
I know many guys that will walk into more girlfriends.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Like there is like, that's not something people walk away from. So yeah, there's a lot that I gave up. So, how much you give up is also something that the Lord will anoint
you
you
got
with.
into polyamory without being on drugs. That's also crazy.
Yeah,
too.
that's pretty.
Bro, yeah. And I usually wouldn't let my girlfriends drink either. I was like, no, we're not drinking.
Not
we're
even
all living
blue
together. Sometimes they would drink. I'm
Gotta
like,
take
whatever.
the blue juice.
I was like, it's like not even Viagra.
That's what unleashes my demon. It's terrible.
No, but diabolical. No, this is. But I'm not making a joke of this. It's just like trying to relate on like a human level here.
Yeah.
It's like, but like what I. But
I sought after God because what I witnessed when I saw my ex-girlfriend get healed, what I saw was so undeniably real. I couldn't not. You understand? Like when you see something that real, that powerful, and dude, I was like, I don't even know this dude. I was like, old man, like you got to teach me like what you do. Like, how do you do that? And he was like, no. He was like, I'm not going to teach you. I was like, what? He was like, your heart's not right. He's like, I won't show you. So like I had to really seek the Lord. I destroyed all my stuff, dude. I had like a video game collection, so many video games. I was like super into that. I destroyed it all. I smashed it and burnt it. Like I had to get rid of all of I gave up my identity. I was somewhat popular on Instagram and I had a bunch of following. Bro, I had like God told me delete it. Said delete it. He said, can I not make you more famous than anything you've ever been and done? I'm like, yeah, that's a pretty good point. I deleted it. I was like, but Lord, like I could use all these people. Like I sword fought with Logan Paul. I met with these people. I was like, dude, if I do this, like, and like they will see my testimony. God said, no, said done, end it. I had to end it. The Lord didn't say, yeah, use your testimony to take advantage of this situation. Like, no, God is so much beyond all that. It's like, I just gave it all up. And the Lord said, I'm going to take you places. And he did. And every step of the way, I've been brought places before people, before you, before whoever. God just brings me before. He told me, I'll bring you before celebrities. And I'm like, okay, like I'm just coming along for the ride. I don't know where I'm going. Like I just try to walk in righteousness as best as I possibly can. And I listen to what my heart tells me. Like it's easy to not walk in sin. Like the Christian world will tell you, like, oh, everything you do is sin, brother. You don't know when you're sinning. You're sinning all the time. No, you're not. That's foolishness. The Bible tells you directly. It says these signs will follow those who believe. Okay. And if you're believing, you're going to walk in that righteousness. But it also says in Jeremiah 31:31, it says, I will make a new covenant with the people, with my people. It says, and it will not be like the covenant I made with the old covenant. Okay, when it was with laws and rules. He said, my new covenant I will write on their minds and I will put it in their hearts. I will be their God and they will be my people. No longer will they teach their neighbor, you must know the Lord, it says, for they will all know me, from the least of them to the greatest. I don't need to teach you, do you know Jesus? Do you know Jesus? Bro, you already know Jesus. You already know God. You've already been restored. You were born into this forgiveness of sin. After what Jesus did. This is why children don't die and go to hell. Bro, you know what's right and wrong inside your heart, bro. Like you already know it. You just neglect it. And when you neglect it, you get dirty. And when you get dirty, you can't hear in the spirit and you don't understand the things of the spirit. You can't see in the spirit. And so then the spiritual realm takes advantage of you. This is why you need to be like a child, Jesus says, to enter into the kingdom of heaven. You have to be born again, it says. What is being born again? You have children and your children see something bad. They go, oh, Daddy, look at that. That's bad. That's wrong. That's what they'll say. Why? How do they know that? How did the child know that that is bad? Because the child's already connected with God because of what Jesus did. That's how the child knows that it's bad.
What about black children, though? Because like I see a lot of black kids on like social media that are like 4 and they're stealing and they're like that one girl, that the 3 black kids, I don't know if you saw this. There's some black Americans, by the way, not black people in general. But these 3 kids, their mom sent them in to steal, and they were like as young as 4. And then they did a response video because they locked the doors. Of course, mom was waiting in the car, and the kids were like, he's gonna have to bleep this part, but they're like, oh, nigga, bitch, fuck you, and like flipping off the camera and like, we can do what we want. Like 4 years old, is that just like, is that not accounted to the kid? Like, is that, what is that then in terms of evil and good? Like, is that just learned behavior? What?
Yes.
Like, what
It's
is that?
learned behavior, and that's called generational curses.
That's what I was
the
wondering.
demons of the parents descend upon the children, and the influence happens. That child knows, though, regardless of whether that child thinks that child is
He knows
not
it's
ignorant.
wrong.
He knows it's wrong, and when he goes before God, God will judge him accordingly. He knows that it's wrong.
When is the age of accountability then?
It's to God to determine, not to us. That's not our business. The Lord, you will know. You will know. Like right now, you probably remember the first time you saw porn.
What do you count as porn?
Yeah, well, you remember something.
No, I'm saying 'cause
You
I mean,
remember
we
the first time you
steal
saw
videos
something.
from my grandpa's place and
Yeah,
watch.
there you go.
Fast forward to the
There you
nudie
go.
scenes on VHS.
Yeah, you remember it though.
Yeah.
Some people remember the first time they lied, or the first time they stole something. You remember the first time you stole something?
Yeah, I stole
Yeah.
a Bible actually. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
Stole a Bible when I was 4.
Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah.
Yeah. So so like some people will remember this.
LimeWire, I stole so much IP.
Oh yeah, that was plenty of that.
That's
Pirate
the thing.
Bay.
That was what you were doing was you were dirtying your conscience and you didn't realize it. You were severing your connection to the Lord. You were severing your connection to the spiritual realm. That's what you were doing.
I can remember when I saw harder and harder porn. Like I can remember like
Yeah,
like when
I
it
know,
went from
that's
like
just
a
because
boob
it gets
scene
darker.
to then the internet to then like this and the threesomes. Like when
Yeah.
you like went down the pail. I know that. And I know like with drugs, everyone always remembers when they go down and they tried drugs for the first. Oh, then I did that.
Yeah.
and then I did that, and they did that. And
Yeah, because the drugs are the doorway. That's the opening ritual to expose you to the demonic, and that's why you remember the first time because that's the time it entered you.
do you believe? I mean, what's your take on this?
I can see how drugs can get you to lead more towards that. Your mind is weak. You're allowing all this negativity into you, so it's easier for you to make bad decisions. Child growing up, I did do a lot of stealing growing up just because of the fact I was homeless on and off from 7 to 13 till I finally moved out of the house. So I did a lot of that when I was younger too. It was troubled youth, but thank God I cleaned that up and I moved forward from that. But I can see how drugs can definitely alter that. Alcohol can definitely lead you to make the decisions. Once again, I believe it's more of you're getting cast an idea versus full possession.
Cast an idea. Cast.
Put into
Funny
you.
word you used.
So you get the idea, and then what ends up happening is that you're more acceptable to it. I mean, God even warns us to not drink and overconsumption, because of it weakens us, and we can do more evil or more things that we wouldn't do if we were sober. So yes, I can see that a drug addict will when they get addicted, it makes it easier for them to make bad decisions, maybe stealing from family, hurting somebody else for something else. So I do believe that does play a huge part as far as your guidance and how you're moving throughout life and what can be easy to be manipulated. I can see that.
So Danny Trejo has an interview of talking about meeting Charles Manson in prison. Have you guys seen that at all?
No, I haven't actually.
Yeah. So Danny Trejo, Charles Manson. You definitely check that thing up. Okay. And by the way, you said cast. That's a witch term, by the way, and it's fascinating because it's called the broadcast. Because they're broadly casting a spell on everybody that watches. What are the shows? The people in the shows that you watch, they're called the cast because they are the spell that's being put onto you. You just don't recognize it because we see these witch terms and everything. But when you see the video of Danny Trejo, he talks about being hypnotized by Charles Manson. Charles Manson, he said, while they were in prison, he met Charles Manson. He said, Charlie hypnotized us to be high on weed and heroin. That's what he says. And he says, and everybody could do it. He said, except for one guy. And Charles Manson can hypnotize Danny Trejo. And he said he knew he was on heroin because his eyes would turn red and they would throw up the minute they did it. So they would just hang out with Charlie, and he said he'd keep him in their cell and protect him because he was kind of a small dude. And they said they keep him there, and he would hypnotize them, and they'd be high on heroin the whole time while they were in jail.
Like not physically injecting it.
No, just being hypnotized to be high on heroin. The total effects. He said.
Hypnotizing, not outside the gimmicky side of it. Like I got a fair. Is
He
like
said
a
he
spell
threw up.
type thing.
He threw up, and his eyes stayed red and everything, like full on. He said the full on sensation. So it was not. It was actual. And they
And
said
Danny
he could
Trejo is like some weird spiritual guy. He's like
Yeah.
just a
Yeah,
Hollywood
no,
actor.
I know what you
Okay.
mean.
Yeah.
Well, here's the fascinating part. He was like, well, one of the guys in the cell, Charlie couldn't hypnotize him. And he's like, Charlie, why can't you do him? And he's like, well, he's never done it. And so his mind doesn't know how to work. Foolishness. No, he had never participated in the ritual and evoked the demon. Therefore, he couldn't get it to show up.
Interesting. And I want to touch on this more, but I want to remind you guys something real fast. A quick word from one of our sponsors. I've got something really good that I want you guys to check out as we're talking about all this. It's called The Return of the Rooftop Koreans. And before you try to guess what that means, just listen. Everybody knows the base story of the Rooftop Koreans during the LA riots. And, we don't really talk to our kids or even have, fiction or stories that really bring up the cool-based people in our society, the things they did, and get them into the stories. Well, now there's a brand new graphic novel that just dropped on Kickstarter. If you know the history during the LA riots in 92 when the city was burning and the cops were overwhelmed, Korean-American business owners literally had to take the rooftops with rifles to protect their families and stores. Actually, these guys are so badass. One of the rooftop Koreans used to follow me, and then I messaged him. I thought I was being nice. I was like, hey, I need you on tonight at 7. And then he unfollowed me. He's like, fuck you. I don't do what you say. And I was like, dude, I wasn't telling you had to come on. I was inviting you. And he's like, well, why'd you tell me I had to come on? And I was like, you got to come out with me tonight. You know what I mean? Trying to tell you, dude, bro, you got to come on. But these guys are based. My point is they stand their ground, right? These guys know what's up. Now they became legends, the Rooftop Koreans. Now this book brings the spirit back for a new generation. It's over 140 pages, full color, and tells the story of Ernest Guan, a Korean American store owner who shoots a criminal in self-defense during a robbery. The media twists the truth. Ellie spirals into chaos, and Ernest is forced to rise up and lead a generation of Rooftop Koreans. It's about survival, family, and standing your ground when no one else will. If you're tired of cancel culture and you believe in the right to defend yourself and your community, this book is for you. Go to Kickstarter right now and search Return of the Rooftop Koreans and grab your copy today. Back it, share it, and experience the one-of-a-kind story. Check out the link in the bio to learn more and support anyway. Now back to the show. You're mentioning about jumping into this stuff, and I think we'll go back to the question I had earlier about what it's like to perform exorcisms, but I think you kind of mentioned a little bit about the prayer. I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about demons versus mental illness. Right? Oh yeah. So because everybody knows that drug use can cause mental illness, and everybody knows if you get on a sick bender with alcohol, you can kind of go mad too. You can actually go crazy. And anybody who's ever had substance abuse problems. And substance abuse, people don't realize that substance abuse is actually most use is substance abuse. That's actually a quote they tell you when you're a teenager. Most use is substance abuse. And some drugs, all use is substance abuse, meaning there's a lot of substances we're not supposed to be taking outside of medicine, right? A lot of it's intent and purpose. So even the Bible said to someone who didn't drink, right, take a little wine for your stomach or whatever, you're using it as medicine. It's not about getting intoxicated, trying to kill bacteria type of thing. That being said, obviously I've done a lot of substances in my life, and I used to have mental illnesses growing up, it doesn't matter. I had serious depression. I've been feeling depressed the last 24 hours, but that's normal when a colleague is assassinated. You know what I mean?
That's a spiritual thing.
Right. That's not.
Everybody feels that.
Correct. I think everybody's feeling depressed, a little bit just empty and a little bit just lost, just because it's just hard to process. But I'm talking about the different kind of depression. I get anxiety. Everyone gets anxiety where you have a day or two where you're just really under a lot of stress and you're feeling anxious because you have something. And so I'm not talking about that to the listener. I'm talking about when you're unable to function because you literally doubt everything you do and your mind's always racing and you're inoperable. And these things are becoming more and more common, right? Mental illness is on the rise. People are mentally ill. In fact, I believe what I was reading is 2 out of 3 girls right now under 21 are on some form of SSRI or medication. In California, in LA, it was some small group study. So what is mental illness outside of the biological, synapses and, neurotransmitter issues? We're not talking about that today. And how much of that is just related to the increase of recreational drug use, or how much of that do you think is demonic?
Yeah, probably close to 99% of that is demonic, I would say. It is very heavily, mental illness is demonic possession in a lot of ways. And schizophrenia, people think schizophrenia. Wait, you wanted to say something?
No, go ahead.
You keep going.
No, it's fine. I was letting you finish. I wanted to hear the
I might
full
go on a long
explanation.
rant. I might go on a long rant.
Go ahead.
So the schizophrenia is 100% demonic possession. I see it all the time. I deal with people that are schizophrenic and help cure that, which there is no medicine that cures that. They only mitigate it. So I help people break away from schizophrenia. We have no cure. And all these medicines that they're trying to push on you, the root word for witchcraft, you know what it is? It's pharmakia. Where do you think we get the word pharmacy from? Pharmakoi means sacrifice. Isn't that funny? Pharmakoi, pharmakia. And we have this word pharmacy. Okay, so these medicines that they tell you are helping, ironically, a lot of these mental medicines come from Eli Lilly, who has discovered these drugs that were tethered to dyes, that they were dying, and they noticed the people in the dye houses were acting really weird and strange. And they said, oh, we should take these dyes and figure out what it is and manipulate this. And that's why the side effects of all these things, they like give you like side effects that are unknown. We don't know what chemicals are affecting your mind. How do you measure that? You don't look at somebody with schizophrenia and say, here, take this test and we'll inject you and measure your levels. What are the levels? What are the levels to determine it's a natural imbalance in the mind? All that is made up bull crap, nonsense. There is no measurement of what are the levels supposed to be. Are they different in this person and that person? We have no clue. All of that science is nonsense. I work with a clinical psychotherapist and he can verify all this. Jerry Marzinski, look him up. Jerry Marzinski is literally a clinical psychotherapist who's done this type of stuff and does also cure schizophrenia with me. He also does the same kind of thing, casts out demons and heals people. He calls them entities. He doesn't directly associate them as demonic because he doesn't approach it from a spiritual he does approach from a spiritual sense, I guess, but not a biblical sense. Okay. But it is very, very clear. And like when you look into this and you see what's actually going on, you realize that all of this stuff about mental illness and all this is fabricated ideologies made up to literally give you this illusion to take these medicines that shrink your brain, make you dumb, disable you, make you not function. They cut open the minds of all these people they were giving these drugs to, and their brains were shrunk. This is literally facts. And it's ironic that we call the people that give the drugs, we call them a shrink. Isn't that ironic? But yet their brains are literally significantly shrunk when they take these SSID, these drugs that we don't know what they're doing.
What do you mean by shrink? Because like I know to tell a side effect, I used to have a lot of higher IQ and I was a lot more intelligent before I started abusing drugs in my life. And that's very common. Everybody says that, it's like, you used a lot of times your intelligence gets you to a good place, then you get the stress, and then you got to deal with the success, and then you abuse substances to deal with the stress rather than leaning on God, and then it ends up, corrupting your mind, or you end up with a lot of problems. But that being said, in retrospect, like an actual physical thing is like I took a lot of zolpidem tartrate when I was having sleeping issues, and that along with some SSRIs as well.
Zolpidem
tartrate, Ambien is the brand name. So sleep aid, and. And like I can't remember people's names. Completely honest, like I'd have to write the names down to people like in bold at the top of these articles because I don't even have any short-term memory. Where like people tell me their names, I lose my keys. Everyone hears I'm just looking at my phone, my keys everywhere. I can't remember. I don't have spatial awareness. I can't even park my car well because I lost like spatial depth. And there's a class action lawsuit against the drug for that. So I'm just telling people like, yeah, everybody knows that like people get disabled or but then it's like, how do you sue a company for saying that, you lost spatial depth perception? Like, what does that even mean, right? It's like, and then I read about a bunch of people lost it. So you always see them like parked, freaked up, I guess, in a spot. And it's like, I didn't used to be like that. And I have a really hard time with sports and everything now because I just can't like measure when a ball's coming and like, when to catch it or whatever. And that comes from that drug. There's like tens of thousands of people have the same problem. So like, what is that? What is that? Just a chemical imbalance, right? Because how do you sue over demons? That's kind of what I'm saying. It's like the demons got my mind.
Okay, so demons cause the damage. Okay, do you understand? So it's not like the demon creates the damage and then the damage persists. It's almost like, if you broke your arm, your arm is broken not because it's a demon there. It's broken because it's broke. Maybe a demon caused the break, right? So it's like a lot of things, demons will cause genetic mutations of cell growth and it will cause what we call cancers. Okay, but that's the demonic spirit causing those cancers. And then once the demon leaves, guess what? The cells start acting normally and the things restore because your body heals itself. Okay. Now, a lot of times the demon, you've taken the drug, you've made an offering, that's a burned offering or whatever, you've smoked a drug or taken some pill drug that is some kind of, and by the way, these drugs, a lot of them are like straight up witchcraft. Like when you research where they came from, it's like kidneys of aborted fetuses where they synthesize this drug. Like how is that anything different than eye of a frog, leg of a toad, boil and boil? Like it's the same thing. Like it's literally the same thing. You just don't recognize it. Because we're like, oh, it's genetic. It's happening in a lab. Yeah, it's happening it's witchcraft, and you just don't recognize it. But like we've made it science.
Can I ask you this though? Yeah. Because juxtaposing two different things. There is a story in the Bible. There's two that I know of where a demon possesses a boy and he like throws himself into the fire, and there's like a physical reaction. And there's also a guy with I don't know, spinal stenosis or what it is, but basically a hunchback or something, and then they cast the demon out of the spine, and then the person straightens up, if I remember straight. So there is I could have the stories off a little bit, but just go with me here. There is stories in the Bible about like the demons causing physical like nerve and muscular movement, and then there's also ones about it causing bone deformation. However, to kind of play devil's advocate again, it's like, what if the demons, I guess these spirits or whatever, it's like, what if it's not that they're causing the cancer, but that they're tempting someone towards greed, like in a company, right? Towards like greed.
They do that, absolutely.
And the greed is causing them to use chemicals that will hurt the people, and the chemicals cause the cancer. But it's just that greed is a natural, temptation, of course, when you have a lot of money, and it's the greed is a natural, like deadly sin of like, of greed that's just leading to the fragmentation of the health industry, which is eventually, killing us. Why would it not just be that versus actually, causing cellular growth or mutation?
Sure, the demons are in the chemicals. That's what I'm saying.
Holy
like the
shit.
demons are in them. They're that's why the names of them are like Oxycontin. Ox is a synonymous name for the bull. It's the devil. So it's like when you look into this stuff, like, and there's like oxycodone and all these, like, and these words, you just break them down in Latin and they will mean stuff in spells. They'll mean things in witchcraft. So like the demons are tethered to the pill. I prayed for a demon possessed man, and the demon spoke through the man, unbeknownst to himself, mind you. He didn't even remember this afterwards. And we were trying to get the demonic spirit out of the man. And I couldn't. This is in the beginning when I didn't know what I was doing fully, and I couldn't fully get the demon out at the beginning, and I was like unaware. And the demon started talking. And he was talking. He's like, you're weak. The one that was telling me, he's like, you're weak. You can't get me out. He's like, you're full of lust. He's like, you want this wickedness in your heart. He's like, you want this polyamory. You want this. And then I said, well, what am I supposed to do with you if I can't get you out? Like, what am I supposed to do? And he goes, send me into the pills. That's what the demon spoke out of. He said, I love the pills. You people love the pills. That's what the demon said out the man's mouth. Send me into the pills. Which I was just like, what a weird response for this. And then like, bro, the dude didn't even remember the whole conversation afterwards. He was just like, where am I? Like, what is going on? Like the spirit spoke out of his mouth and it knew stuff.
So this is like the pig situation where like the demons have to go somewhere. So you cast them out. Where do they go? So they go to the pigs, right? In that one situation, or they God put them into the Euphrates as well, right? So
I send them to the abyss because that's where they don't want to go, and so I send them there. I cast them into the abyss. I command them to go. Sometimes I send them to snails at the bottom of the ocean. I don't know, wherever I feel like sending them out. I send them out. I tell them leave this person, don't return. So this is where I send them. There's lots of ways you can send them places.
Are they just going because they're under the command of the authority of God, or
like they're under the authority, and I understand how authority works.
Is it portals?
Portals. Yep. They don't walk around like us. Demons portal from one to another.
I've heard that because the principalities, like that. There's like that's why there's certain areas that are like this is the pornography region, and that's this region because there's certain like demons over like perversion or this or that, and they sort of like foment in these regions. And I know this probably sounds like a complete bullshit to a lot of people, and maybe it is, but
you can't see this, so you don't know.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, but I'm just saying this is what I've heard. I don't think you buy any of this though.
Some of it I'm on board with,
He's looking for those pills.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, where are the demon pills?
I do believe that it first off, the pharmaceutical industry is evil as can be, and what it does is it weakens the mind, it attacks the soul, it makes it so yes, you can be more acceptable to things. Do I think 99% of people with illness are filled with demons? No, I don't think 99%.
Mental illness.
Mental illness, yeah. I don't think it's me personally. And as I said, you've studied more into this, but I believe that there is a percentage. I don't know the percentage, but to say 99, I think is a big claim for me personally to kind of tag along with. Just kind of my take on it. Do they're going through portals or stuff? I don't know. You guys kind of lost me, but it could be true because I don't. As I mentioned, I'm not an expert in any of this. I just kind of got thrown into it. But yeah,
you're the expert skeptic.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, when you hear that there's a portal over this and there's a portal over that, I guess I don't see it the same.
Just because you don't have as good of portals as I have,
I
doesn't
do.
mean that you have to
Yeah.
talk crud on the portals, man.
Yeah, no, and as I said, I'm against the pills because, as I said, once again, it's just like alcohol. You're weakening the mind. You're open. The whole thing about chemical imbalance, that's already been debunked. That's not.
Yeah.
It's not a real thing. You know, it's just something they use to pump us full of drugs. Cancer. Do I think cancer is tied to demons? I don't think all cancer cases are tied to demons. If I'm smoking like 4 or 5 packs a day and all of a sudden I got cancer, and we go, the demon did it to me, and it's like, no, my bad smoking habit did it to me. If I worked in a area that was prone to gaining cancer from maybe the chemicals I'm working with or something else, do I think a demon did that to me? No, I think it's I made poor decisions. I think a lot of times what we do is we say right away it could be demons when it's not, and I do believe in demons. I'm not saying that I don't.
It's the Betheme situation.
Yeah, but I do also believe that a lot of it is personal, the actions that we take. It's just like a lot of times some people, when they pray to God, they curse God. God, why would you do this to me? God, why did my wife leave me? And so, well, you had an affair. God, why did I crash my car? Well, you were getting drunk all the time. You know, a lot of times we have actions.
What? Yeah, why do my kids not talk to me? It's like, you were a terrible parent. You didn't show up to baseball games. Like, you know, it's your fault.
So a lot of times we have the habit of pointing fingers at everybody else besides pointing them at ourselves. You know, we'll sit there and say it's God's fault that my life is terrible, or it's the demon's fault, where there should be accountability. It's like, no, I screwed up, and what I need to do is I need to be, you know, walk along with God to get, you know, change my path to do what's right, because God gave us, you know, told us about sin for a reason. He knew that there'd be bad actions that follow afterwards. These are things you want to stay away from. This is going to bring you down the path towards, you know, more demonic kind of area. So for me to say like 99% or, you know, a lot of the cancer cases, I wouldn't say majority personally. I think it's just that a lot of us have bad habits, the foods that we're taking. And I guess I can go more with what Elijah was saying, like the, you know, there could be somebody else who was told to use these chemicals, or like, you know, who cares about people? And then that has ripple effects that send across, and we choice once again to choose to ignore it, to go eat that happy meal, or to go eat that, you know, that food that is poisoning us, and not taking health and being accountable for health. So I do believe that, yes, there's a portion that could be demonic, but I believe a lot of times what we have is people who go ahead and we try to lump sum it all into one. Like, if this is happening, then it's definitely demonic, when it's not.
So there's a lot you said there, and there's a lot of things that I would like kind of like, you know, explain in more detail, I guess. You know, one of the things that that I feel like I should kind of go over is that, like, you know, when you mention sickness and cancer, like I mentioned this to you earlier, but like there was a study and done about people that had spontaneous remission of cancer, where the cancer just spontaneous left their body, and that spontaneous leaving was tethered to unforgiveness that they were holding. Okay. And now they interviewed all the people, and they were like, what'd you do? What'd you eat? What'd you change? How'd you do this? And nothing was the same. Some people ate ice cream. Some people didn't change anything. There was a commonality between the people. They all said, I forgave everyone. I came to term that I was going to die, and I forgave everyone. And then the cancer left my body. Okay. So, and when it comes to what I do as a deliverance minister, a lot of what I do is I teach people how to forgive. That's how I cast out demons. So this answers that other question as well. Like, when I'm casting demons out, I have to teach people how to forgive, how to let go, how to release pride and let pride go from them. Because the Bible says, if you are prideful, God is resisting you. Mm-hmm. And it literally says, if you have unforgiveness, God will turn you over to the tormentors. It literally says this. So most demonic possession in people is from unforgiveness. Like, most of it. I would say like 80% of demonic possession is literally unforgiveness. And somebody that's sick with cancers and stuff, they've got, guarantee you, a lot of times they have unforgiveness towards someone in their life. And what I do is I teach people to forgive. And then the demons, the tormentors, have to leave. Because once the forgiveness is there, I command it to go. And I've healed people from cancers. I've healed people from tumors. I've seen crazy stuff. Okay. But it's not like you see in church, like, oh, brother, fall down, blah, blah, blah. That's nonsense. That's silliness. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about real, actual healing. Like I was shown, and I do this for people, and I bring them through this, and then I command the demon to leave, because it has no legal right. Once the pride is gone, God's not resisting you. Once the unforgiveness is gone, the demons aren't there. And so this fixes many of the issues that people are dealing with, like most of the issues. Okay. But the problem is, you want to know the really fascinating part, Christians don't get healed. And that's a really sad, unfortunate thing. I pray for many people. Half of the Christians don't get healed. Maybe even more than half.
Why would you say that is?
Because they're so wrong in their heart towards God and their thinking. They have such wrong thinking. They think God murders people. They think God is like some evil person in some regard. And he just decides to do what he does. They have a wrong view of the Lord. Why is God going to heal you when you think God's murdering children and he's, agreeing with Israel over there, murdering children? Why is God going to heal you? To confirm your negative view of the Lord? You think there's chosen people still? Like, that's nonsense. God is not going to heal you to confirm the wicked. He cares more about your heart than your perspective of perversion. Like, you have to change your heart. So Christians, a lot of times, they're so full of pride, God is resisting them. And they think they know. They think they have the answer. And they're not humble enough, and so they don't get healed. And it's really sad. I could pray for a random person on the street that doesn't believe in God, and you'll see a miracle instantly. Like, boom. And you'll see crazy stuff. I've literally prayed and seen. I prayed for a dude who came up to me, a homeless man, asked me for weed. And he was like, hey, you got some weed? I was like, no, dude, I don't got any weed. But I said, but I can pray for you. I said, and I'll pray for you, and your addiction to weed and alcohol will leave you. And he's like, how do you know I have addiction to alcohol? I was like, because I can feel the Spirit on you. And he's like, okay. He's like, well, prayer doesn't work. I was like, well, you haven't had me pray for you. I was like, you've had other people pray for you. That's probably the churchianity people that don't know what they're doing. I was like, I'll pray for you, bro. I prayed for him instantly. I said, spirit of alcohol, I rebuke you. Get off. And he was like, "Bleh." And he was like, I'm sober. He's like, what the heck did you just do to me? He was so blown away in that moment.
Used you on last week's show.
Bro, it works. It's very real.
So I might not have had to delete that. we need to start having them. There's a drinking episode we need to have. I'm not even joking. It's like we gotta rebuke those demons. But
I could have definitely used you then. I mean, sheesh.
But I'm not. But jokes
it's not a party
aside,
trick.
I know. But jokes aside, that is a very serious claim, and I think that the hard part is probably that you have, which I kind of want to conclude on here, is you probably deal a lot with the fact that people have to take your word for it, and since you're not making a show of it, right? Since you're not televising and asking for money, it's not like you're like, you're not walking around making a YouTube channel like at the per se, and everybody knows everything you do everywhere and everything you're doing. Like you may show some of it, you may talk about it. You're here talking about it, but a lot of the stuff that goes on is probably just private stuff that just happens on a random interaction.
Yeah, I don't post videos of this stuff.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So that it becomes like okay.
They tell enough people to tell enough people. If you want to get prayer for, if you want to get healing, you have to want it. Your heart has to want it. You'll search it out. God will direct you to my page. It's free. You go to demonerasers.com, sign up. There's a form, and I have me and my other people pray for people, and we see miracles all the time. We see crazy stuff.
Does it have to be in person, or can it be
we
remote?
do it through Zoom. I do it in person sometimes.
You don't think that there's because you don't think there's like demons that control the waves through
absolutely
through like Zoom, and it could like interrupt the spiritual kinetics?
Sure, but God is outside of space and time. But yeah, the demons do try to do that all the time through Zoom. We deal with it all the time.
Block your voice. They could change what you say, or they could like
100%
add a spell
do that
onto your voice as it's going because it's just your voice, not you, or something. I mean, like, I actually think the world is crazier than we even think it is. Like, I know it sounds like, because by the way, my first ever podcast I ever did in my life was about the reality of demons, and that's how I got into this. The first one I ever did.
Wow. Because
I went on to somebody's podcast. They invited me on as a guest, and they were like, this is crazy. And this guy was telling me at a party that he's like had all these experiences with demons, and he was like, it's crazy stuff. And I know it sounds insane to people, but it's like it's always interested me. And I guess because I'm already convinced, you're kind of preaching to the choir here. Not that I'm convinced enough that I'm like walking in with God like the way I should be walking, but it's enough to know that there's certain things I don't touch anymore. There's probably less things I should touch that's to this day, but I mean, there's definitely like I don't do hard drugs anymore because that stuff like puts me in an alter mind, and I notice like I start suffering with anger issues and things that are like crazy. But even now, like I have this new thing that I know. Even now I'll be like, man, I shouldn't, if I'm like depressed, I shouldn't drink, or I shouldn't do this because I'll notice I'll act different than if I, let's say, drank and I'm happy or something like that. And I noticed that like, when you're out there, like, I read this quote about porn. It's really crazy. It was like, hey bro, are you jerking off to porn because you're horny? Or are you jerking off because you're depressed and you need a dopamine hit? And it's like, like a lot of people are addicted to porn because they're just like empty inside and they're just trying to feel something. You know what I mean? So they're just jerking off to feel something. And and I didn't really apply that to porn. I kind of applied it to everything. It's like like, you know, they always say like the alcohol is fun until it's not, or like drugs are enjoyable until you can't stop, or like, you know, and there's that famous Christian quote of, you know, sin takes you further than you want to go, keeps you longer than you want to stay, costs you more than you want to spend. There's sort of this like pattern with things of like things begin with you know, fun and exciting and exhilarating, and then they end up leading you into this emptiness. And so I kind of want to end with this is like, if people are feeling that end, right? So people are feeling that bondage. How much of that bondage to their vices, to their sins, we'll just call it all sin, because vice is like an interesting word. Not all vices are sins, but almost all sins can be a vice in some way, or most of them at least of action. But there's a lot of people who are carrying hidden sins, like they are carrying bitterness, right? They're carrying jealousy, and jealousy sometimes is crazy because then it's all not problematic, and then when do you murder somebody? I'm just saying, it's like all of a sudden you're just hiding jealousy in your heart, and eventually you kill someone.
Jealousy is pride. It's all tethered to pride.
Okay, see, so what I'm saying, but like I'm trying to help people see this real fast, because you think, you know, jealousy is not a problem. It's not a problem. We all tell ourselves that about our sins. It's not that big of a deal. And then all of a sudden you've murdered someone and you're chopping up their body. I mean, I watch the shows. I have a wife. Trust me, women love these crime shows. So. The point is what would you tell people if they feel like they need deliverance and they're like, is this a demon or is this just an addiction? Am I just stuck in sin or am I being influenced by the devil? What do you think is the best course of action for people to find deliverance? And I want you to kind of, you know, speak to the people there on your camera on what you would say to them.
Well, I guess I would say is like, you know, like addiction is oftentimes a demon, and it absolutely is connected to that. And you know, if you're dealing with that type of stuff, I mean, you mentioned like even porn. Like, I don't get how Christians are like, I'm a Christian and I don't sin and I don't do anything bad and I don't watch porn. I don't get how you even do that. Like, if I didn't know that I have a requirement to pray for somebody and somebody is going to be like looking at me and hoping that I'm going to help them and heal them, like, bro, I would be so hard to not like give into lust and perversion. Like, I don't know how Christians that say they're Christian are just like, I just don't do anything wrong. Like, that's insane to me. Like, I don't get it. Like, this is so exciting when you're doing actually the Lord's work. It calls you to a level of anointing that you have to walk in. I'm at the front lines of doing this stuff and setting people free and casting out demons. I have to have a certain level of righteousness that I have to walk in, or the demon's going to call me out. And I'm not going to be able to heal the person. Demon's going to speak through the person. It's going to know stuff about me. It's going to be embarrassing at the very least, you know, like, so like I have to walk in a certain level of righteousness. Now, if you don't think that they're like, you know, a lot of people are like struggling with stuff, like you're saying, it's like, bro, maybe you need to be in the front lines because it's too weak where you're at. Maybe you need to step up to the authority that you're supposed to be walking in. And that's why you're struggling, because you're not living the warrior spirit that's in you to do what is right. You're just being a little side fluffy thing. Of course, the idle hands is the playground of the devil, right? So like, of course, that's what's going to take advantage of you. So I don't know any other way other than to be like 100% for Christ. And that's why it says in the Bible, it says he'd rather you be hot than cold. If you're lukewarm, he'll spew you out. Like, be cold. If you're going to be cold, be cold. God rather you be 100%. You know, God rather you not be one of those people that are like, I'm trying to be good and then secretly dealing with that, bro. That's just going to corrupt you, corrupt your heart. Step into what the anointing is. Go try to cast a demon out. Go try to pray for somebody that you think has something demonic on them. See what happens. See, they'll get you real fast. They'll get you straight. I'll tell you that much. It did it for me. Like, I was not expecting that kind of response. When I first prayed demons off of somebody, zero expecting that kind of response. But like, step into the calling and the anointing that you have. And maybe that little, weakness that you have, you'll recognize that it's a demon and you can blow it off of yourself and get it off. You know, like you're sit there smoking cigarettes. Okay. Cigarettes it's a burned offering. Like, you are burning an offering unto an entity. You just don't know what it is. You know, there's a lot of words in the English dictionary, but not a lot that sound like cigarette. There is one though.
Cigars?
Yeah, cigars, totally something different. But we can get into that. That is still a burned offering of something.
I was getting hit on every front today.
No, he's saying it's still an offering.
Yeah, but it's something different, so that's good.
Yeah. But I'll tell you right now, it's called.
You're going after all my entire life today.
Yeah,
bro. But think about this. I want you to look at it. Look at the.
I need to find out if I have something on me. I mean, he called you out. I mean,
I told you do have demons on you, bro. Just like,
you do.
What do you see? What do I have?
I can already feel the lust on you. I already know it's there.
Oh, I already told you.
Yeah,
that.
I know. It's already there. It's pretty obvious. Like, yeah, there's a few things on you.
he's not trying to out you on a show, basically.
Yeah, we won't talk about that.
You are gay. Why are you gay?
The thing is, bro, like
didn't deny it.
when you understand this stuff and you understand the spiritual aspect to a lot of this, you'll really realize it. I mean, like, it's cigarettes. There's another word. It's called ziggurats. You know what a ziggurat is? It's a pyramid. And if you look, it's the human sacrifice points. Everywhere there's pyramids, they're sacrificing humans, by the way, side note. Everywhere. Everywhere in the world you see pyramids, even the Egyptian pyramids. They want to hide it, but it's very obvious. You still see the same blood pools that are in front of the Aztec pyramids are the same ones in front of the Egyptian pyramids. We know they were sacrificing humans. They weren't tombs. It's pretty obvious.
Even New York has like the Empire State Building. A lot of the buildings that are the tallest points end up stacking up in a top pyramid. I know. I've seen that too. That's crazy.
They're all human sacrifice ritual points. Okay. And every time you see that pyramid, and if you look at the packs of cigarettes, they all got pyramids on them, like the majority of them. Or they'll make homage to the pyramid. I mean, the Marlboro logo, that's not a chevron. It's a pyramid. Okay. Camel. Those are pyramids in the background, bro. Like, there's a brand of cigarettes called Pyramid. Okay. There's multiple pyramids, cigarettes brands, and you can look at them and they all have triangles or pyramids on them. And those are the ziggurats. That's where they would sacrifice the human. That's why they call them ziggurat and cigarette. Sounds pretty similar, don't it? Yeah, it's because you are the burnt offering. You are the sacrificial offering, and you don't even recognize it. And people are under spells. This is being under spellbound. So hopefully listening to what I'm saying is breaking people out of the spell and recognizing, yo, hey, maybe what this crazy dude's saying, it sounds like kind of maybe it's relevant. Yeah, watch my TikTok. I explain it in more detail, and people will be like, whoa. And so, like, I explain this stuff to try to help people come out of it. And once you realize that what you're in is occultic witchcraft practices, and you can recognize that it's demons talking to you. If you're dealing with depression, it's demons, bro. Like, it's straight demons. Like, you're dealing with depression, you're dealing with anxiety, it's demons. Like, straight up, they're talking to you. They're talking to everybody. You just don't realize it. There's demons talking to you, everyone around us. The schizophrenic people at least recognize that it's not them talking to themselves. Half of you guys are hearing them, and you think it's your own thoughts. You think it's you talking to you. It ain't you. Those negative thoughts that pop into your head, that's demons. And so, like, when you learn that this is not your identity, it's not who you are, then you can say, hey, I can command this thing to leave. And bro, your depression will leave you. Your anxiety will leave you. You stop burning offerings to them. You stop doing their will. The demon's sitting on your shoulder. Burn me another offering, human. Burn me another one. Like, burn me another offering, and it makes you weak. You give the power over to the demon because you continue to do these ritual practices that you don't even realize. You're drinking alcohol, body-eating spirit. You think he's a demon? You keep giving him the authority over your life. Stop doing it. Recognize that it's a demon. And when the thought comes, you say, no, shut your mouth. Get off me. I will not bow to you, demon. Leave. And the demons leave. And then you'll be like, whoa, that's weird. Like, that desire for lust it just left me, like, instantly. And you're like, okay, that was a weird experience. Like, and once you do that, you can resist the demon about 2 weeks. Most demons, they hang around for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, they're like, I can't do it anymore. And they move to the next.
Question, if you just stop something like porn or drinking or whatever it is, polyamory, I mean, for 2 weeks, but you're not doing it in a spiritual way. Like, let's just say you're, because they say like 30 to 60 to 90 days to end a cycle. Is there a difference between ending in a natural way of just like choosing not to have sex or something versus casting the demon out, like saying no, like to the demon?
You can try to finish it. You can try to end it naturally, but really what you're doing is you're just starving the demon, and maybe the demon goes away, but he'll come back. He'll come back looking for you eventually. And then maybe you resist it again. And that's good. That's good practice. I mean, you're learning to walk in some form of righteousness. Great. Good job. You did it on your own. Congratulations. But you only did it because the Spirit of God is already in you. So it is only through Jesus's forgiveness and Jesus's payment that demon even has an ability to walk away from you. But the reality is, like, if you learn how the spiritual authority works, you can command it to go. You don't have to like sit there and fight it. You can just say, shut up and get off me. Boom.
I'm going to try that in the future. I do want to say this though. By the way, Absolutely fantastic conversation. Bryan from the Demon Erasers. If people want to find you and follow you on social media, what is the best place that they can pick up on your stuff? How can they get in touch with you? I know it'll be in the description of the video, but this is for the audio only listeners who might be just driving in the car and want to check it up using Siri.
Yeah, demonerasers.com. You can go to find me on Instagram, Demon Erasers, TikTok. I'm pretty big, Demon Erasers. YouTube, Demon Erasers. I have a movie called Ancient Angels. I teach people about the Nephilim and the occult and all kinds of craziness and witchcraft. And there's different stuff on all my platforms, really. But you can look it up. Demon Erasers is pretty much everything. And I think I'm going to be on Rumble too. So Rumble, already set it up.
Fantastic. Awesome. And joining us today too as well, the critic.
I don't know. Follow Bryan.
Yeah, follow Bryan. No, we're good. We don't need to pump ourselves up today. All right. The rest of you guys watching, thank you for supporting another episode of Almost Serious here on rifttv.com. Don't forget, you can get our articles at rifttv.com regularly where we update stories. Again, I'm kind of probably going to shout out every episode for the next few weeks here. As just a constant prayers, please, for Charlie Kirk's family, for his soul as well. As I know, he was a devout believer, but just saying a prayer of thanks for the sacrifice that he gave, for doing something that we all appreciate and love, and standing up for debate and for his country, and for the ideals of having a country under God. Right, that's really the important part there. So we thank his family for paying the ultimate sacrifice, something that we're not happy that happened, but that we are grateful that such a great man existed amongst us and gave us so much in the short time he had here on this earth. And so we pray for his friends and family as well, and just encourage you all to stay close to your family, and remember your time is not guaranteed on this earth. So please watch your words, watch your steps, and be careful, because the enemy is walking around roaring, seeking who he may devour. And, I hope by the time this airs that we've caught the killer. And if we have not, then I think that means one thing or another. So I won't say much because I don't know when this is going to air. Maybe next week, maybe the week after. So we'll see you then. Anyways, shout out to Mike Mendoza on production tonight. And the rest of you guys who support us, make sure you support us at ElijahSchaefer.locals.com. It's the easiest way that you can join the movement and join this. We'll probably end up releasing this early, actually, on Locals. We should do that whenever we have early records. So if you watch this on Locals, you got this early, which is cool. So you get content early. Some of these will come out like a week early, and you can watch it there. But if you, to the rest of the public, if you want to start getting early content, additional content, bonus content, we have it all there. It's just a few bucks a month, and it helps us fight the good fight of faith. Anyways, have a great rest of the week as always. Shout out to my guest, Bryan of Demon Erasers, and may God bless you.